and gentlemen.
Thank you. You did it better.
No.
Welcome to DreamHack Open Summer 2013. And a special welcome to SVT as well. We are on Swedish television. In the fine city, as Dennis would say, how do you pronounce the city?
I don't try it.
Yes.
Wait, okay, I try
You
it.
will try it.
You know I'm German, right?
Yes.
Fuck. Oh, can I say
Continue.
that? Sorry.
It's good you said you're German, then you did that. Now we understand.
Okay.
Here in Sweden, we have decency and rules, sir. Please.
Jönköping? That was okay.
Yeah.
That was luck.
To be honest, this audience is really good. They will cheer to everything. I've done the science behind it. Ready, guys? Cats! All right. So, who knows if you actually said that correctly or not. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the grand finals. We have two of the best players, certainly in this tournament, but around the world. It is the dark horse Stardust taking on the tyrant Jaedong. I am pumped. Are you guys ready for this?
They am.
It's going to be good. What are your impressions on this tournament thus far?
Well, I think it's hard to describe actually. It's Stardust in the final, surprising so many players, so many people, so many viewers on stream live here at the DreamHack itself. We had upsets. We had, everything was included. Great games, upsets, surprising players, everything was here. Great people, the crowd was amazing, and we still have a great final coming up.
We do have a great final, and it's been an amazing tournament. Of course, we can't do these tournaments without our sponsors, so who do we have to thank for that?
Oh yeah, we all know without Logitech G, ISO, and Kingston HyperX, it wouldn't be possible. And please, guys, make a lot of noise for them! Everything was just crazy, perfect, and well, I mean, there's so many people involved, the crew behind it. Actually, we don't talk too much about that. The camera guy, the producers, everyone who's behind it. And I think it's also important to mention them because they're coming early, like 7 a.m. They stay until 2 a.m. in the morning, so they sleep like 4 hours probably. And these guys, you don't see them on camera, actually.
Do you guys think DreamHack does a pretty good job of putting on this show? I agree. They do a great job.
Yeah, I think so too.
Big shout out to DreamHack. Thank you guys for doing this wonderful job, bringing us out here and putting this on. It's an absolutely amazing tournament. I'm really excited about this final. There's so much story going into it. Stardust, of course, a lot of people are saying, who is this guy? And certainly he's made a name for himself now, taking out amazing Zergs and even defeating, unfortunately, the home favorite show. But he did say he would do that, so he's got a little bit of spunk to him. I like that. And he's going up against Jaedong. I tried to get Jaedong to say really funny stuff, but he's actually too focused at being one of the best players on the entire planet to say anything funny at all. Maybe when he's done being awesome, he'll be more funny. I don't know, but
he will be more awesome.
We'll hope so. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, this final will be a best of 5. I do want to remind you guys, please do us a favor. We're on the verge of 100,000 people on stream. Start hashtagging DHOpen, tweet the link, let people know it is possible for us to break 100,000, and it would be awesome. So do your part social media-wise, and let's get the word out there. But I think we're ready to introduce these players and have a little bit of a chat with them. So, you guys have been an awesome audience, and you're going to continue, I know it. Well, one more time for these players. Let's bring them out right now. Jaedong and Stardust. Come on out. Gentlemen, welcome and congrats. First and second place, at least. A lot of WCS points, a lot of money to be earned. He loves you. Stardust, you've made it to the finals. This is a very big deal for your team. I can see the emotional reactions every time. What does this final mean for you?
I can't explain how much it is important, but I'm just enjoying the remake.
Jaedong, you've been in a lot of finals, but in StarCraft 2, not as many. Last time I talked to you on this similar stage, actually it was this one just in a different city, you talked a lot about how you want to show your fans that you have what it takes to win a tournament. Is this where you make your start? Do you start the warpath from here?
지금 스타 1 때 결승 많이 올라오고 우승도 많이 했는데 지금 스타 2는 아직도 결승 많이 못 가고 그냥 지금 여기 와서 결승까지 왔는데 우승할 자신 있는지 여기부터 시작할 건지 이기는 거 우승하는 거 조금 결승한 거 곧 보여줄
It's a really good question.
I will start here.
I will start here.
I will start here and I will own them.
And,
I will start here and I will win.
and I will win.
Yeah. I will start here and I will win.
I will start here and I will win. Here.
Now, gentlemen, before I let you go, this will be the only time we'll have both of you out here. You're about to play the final. Do you have any words for your opponent, Stardust?
선생님한테 말하고 싶어요.
That's Jaedong.
긴장.
Stardust. Yeah. It's okay. They look the same, I know.
Okay. This is a very big tournament, so we leave only one step, the final. So please make a beautiful game.
Beautiful game. All right.
뷰티풀 게임을 하고 승리는 제가 하는 걸로 할게요.
So we're gonna show beautiful games, but I will win.
All right, gentlemen, please shake. Wish each other good luck, have fun, and we will see you in the booth. Thank you very much. All right, there you have it. That's our finalists. I'm pumped. I know you guys are. Let's get this underway. But first, let's throw it to the casters, Apollo and Nathanius.
Hello, Sweden! It is time for some StarCraft 2 action. We are live, ready for the grand finals. I am so excited to bring you these games. How are you feeling right now, Nathanius?
This is a pretty awesome experience, just being able to sit here and talk to you guys about it. This is quite an interesting finals thing. I'm really happy to see Stardust kind of coming back from the dead. Haven't seen him in anything really that much lately, but this finals is shaping up to be pretty damn awesome, Apollo.
That's right. Let's take a closer look at these two players that we have in the grand finals. Stardust has had a miracle tournament. Nobody really expected him to be in the grand finals here today. He's gone through so many different players on his way, notably big Zerg players. Jaedong is another Zerg player. Will he be able to get the hat trick of Zerg players down in the playoffs? He went through Violet in the round of 16, Hyun in the round of 8, and then took down the final Swedish player in this tournament in the semi-finals 2-0, lands himself in the big grand finals.
Yes, Apollo, he's quite a showstopper at least, moving into this final match against Jaedong. What does he need to do to prepare, or at least to prepare himself mentally for this match, considering that this wasn't really something that people saw coming? Neither of these players would probably have scattered each other out much before getting into these games today.
All right, Nathanius. Stardust is going up against Lee Jaedong himself. This guy in Brood War, words can't even describe how good of a player he was in Brood War. One of the best Brood War players to ever touch the game. StarCraft 1, that is. Now coming into StarCraft 2, it's taken him a bit of time to adjust into StarCraft 2, that is, and now he is performing some of the best StarCraft we have ever seen him play. In this tournament so far, in the playoffs, he went 2-0 versus Stefano, the #1 non-Korean StarCraft 2 player. 2-0 versus Lucifron, 2-0 versus Liquidtasia, undefeated in the playoffs. To be able to beat a legend like that, he needs to show something extraordinary. He needs to bring something so special to the table. And if anyone can do it, it's the miracle maker that is Stardust, that has found himself in the finals today. This is going to be a remarkable finals. It is going to be a best of 5. The first player to get 3 wins will win this DreamHack Summer 2013 tournament.
One thing to keep in mind, Apollo, as we do move through into this final match, you did state he's going to need to pull some miracles. Now, as far as who these guys have played today, Jaedong did play against Stefano, but Stardust has had a lot more practice in this matchup as far as the opponents he's played against, going against Violet, going against Hyun.
Yes.
Jaedong's coming off of playing against 2 Terran players. Is he fresh enough here moving into this matchup to have that advantage from being the Dong?
He is the Dong himself. There he is, Lee Jaedong from Team Evil Geniuses. You bring a good point. He hasn't played against another Protoss player, not in the playoffs at least. He did in the group stages, but that's a disadvantage. On the flip side, the advantage he has coming into the grand finals, he has watched Stardust play throughout the playoffs against different Zerg players. He's had the chance to see how he likes to pull his strategies out, what he likes to do, what his favorite units are, what his favorite style is. And there we do have the other opponent in the finals. It is Stardust, his real name being Sun Seok Hee from NY Insanity, 23 years old, both players from Seoul, South Korea. And we're about to see how this can shape out. We will be getting ready for this in a couple of moments' time, just to bring out a little bit more flavor to this finals. Second place, no matter who finishes there, gains themselves 4,100 euros for being second place. First place goes up to 7,100 euros. 3,000 euro difference between first and second place. And of course, the WCS system that Blizzard and StarCraft have, lots of points on the line. But we are about to begin. Let's make some noise. The grand final is here.
That wonderful crowd ready for some StarCraft action. And spawning in the top left position as our red Zerg player tearing through Terrans to get here. Can he take out a Protoss from Team Evil Geniuses? It is Jaedong!
He said in his pre-game interview, his championship, his run starts here. He's going to win this, he says.
And he's got a nice tall task. Of course, we have the Miracle Worker, as you so aptly put it, in the bottom right position. He is going to need a little bit of a pause here as we don't get too ahead of ourselves starting this off. And he is going to be from Team My Insanity. It is Stardust.
Yeah,
and
Stardust. The Miracle Maker himself. Come through so many difficult opponents, everybody doubting his single step. Every step is getting more and more difficult, and more doubt was placed on his shoulders. But now he's in the grand finals. Nobody can doubt him anymore. And let's talk a little bit about his style before we get into this, as both players just had to have a quick pause, a little bit of a technical issue there. Stardust is aggressive. He has fantastic micro. He will control his units and maximize the value from every single one of them, doing as much damage as physically possible before they die off. If he's able to pull out some really aggressive strategies and catch Jaedong off guard, we could see Stardust, the underdog of this, go the full way.
Yeah, and I think another thing to consider is the map that we are going to be playing on is going to be favoring a little bit more of what would seem to be popular in the PvZ metagame, that gateway expand style, but Stardust has been preferring to open up with the Forge. We saw against Hyun a lot of that either the Forge or the Nexus pretty early on. Of course, our crowd quite infatuated with one of our casters, and shout out to Hodor.
I'm going to guess that was a male, which is why he's hiding his face. All right, well, thank you guys in the audience for coming out. I hope you've enjoyed this weekend. We've had a lot of amazing StarCraft 2 action, and the grand finals, as you can see, is about to begin. There seems to be a little bit of a problem there with Stardust, we will be getting into this momentarily. So I'd just like to take a quick second to thank those sponsor names that you see on screen. ISO, Logitech G, Kingston, HyperX, and of course, Twitch TV for all you viewers that are watching online. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible to have this grand final. So thank you very much for supporting esports. And of course, the most important, thanks to Swedish TV for having us on SVT1 right now. I'm happy to have you with us.
It's quite an awesome experience,
And so are they.
seems the crowd
So
agrees
are
with
they.
us. It's pretty damn awesome. We can have awesome events like this, bringing out great StarCraft players and exposing more people to the magic of esports.
All right, well, we are going to be getting this game underway, getting the invites back in. Everybody has their crowds in the signs, cheering for their favorite player. Do you have any predictions on which way this is going to go? Does it favor, still, in my opinion, the underdog Stardust, or is the tyrant himself, Jaedong, going to close this up and take the trophy?
You know, Paulo, when we were looking at the later ends of the group stage, especially group stage number 3, you asked me if I thought Stardust would be able to get out of his group. He had quite a difficult one. You know, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, I think he can make it into the round of 16.
Yep.
He made it there. I want Stardust to be able to take this series. I'm calling Stardust for the finals here.
All right, guys, do make sure to go on to... Well, I love you. You're calling Stardust. I'm going to have to go against you. I'm going to say I think everybody loves a bit of the dong. So I think Jaedong is going to take this down. I think so, Nathanius. Guys, make sure to go on to Twitter, hashtag DHOpen. Follow at DreamHack. Let us know what you think, who you think is going to be able to take this trophy down.
Of course. We've actually been displaying quite a few of your tweets, so we do appreciate your feedback, your comments that you have on the tournament, as well as these games that are being played. And we're just getting the last couple things finalized here. And as far as this has been, Apollo, how have you enjoyed the event overall? I think it's been pretty awesome.
Hello, little guy. I've really enjoyed it. I think this is my 12th StarCraft 2 DreamHack tournament now, and every single time it gets better and better and better. I've loved every moment here, and I cannot wait for the rest of the season here at DreamHack to unfold. This is just the second stop of a couple more, 3 more exactly. So the next stop, we are going over to Valencia in a couple of weeks' time in July. There's going to be another DreamHack stop, the DreamHack Open in Bucharest, leading to the grand finals in November. We have 4 players from each stop, starting in Stockholm, now we're in Jönköping, we're going to Valencia, Bucharest. 4 players from each one will then bring together one final tournament ready for the DreamHack Winter Finals back here in November. How have you enjoyed yourself? First time in Sweden.
It's pretty awesome. My first time in Sweden. Also, my first real-life DreamHack experience, I guess, is kind of a given there. The crowd, absolutely fantastic. This event is probably easily one of the best StarCraft events I have been able to witness, and I feel like a lot of people in the crowd would agree this has been a pretty awesome event so far.
And I'm happy you've enjoyed yourself, Nathanius. Make sure as well to check out starcraft2.com/WCS for all the latest WCS information. Of course, this is a Tier 1 tournament of the WCS seasons. There'll be 1, 2, 3 seasons leading to the grand final at the end of the year as well. These players on stage fighting for prize money, fighting for WCS points, fighting for the glory to be a StarCraft 2 DreamHack champion. Are we going to see Stardust come to a DreamHack and instant win it? The last winner of DreamHack in Stockholm was Lenok, who did that very thing. Played in the tournament for the first time, went all the way to the finals and won it. This is Jaedong's second tournament. If you watch the Stockholm tournament, he got to the semi-finals before being eliminated by Naniwa the Swede himself. But now he has another chance to go the full distance to be able to take this down.
And another great point that you do make is the WCS points. He's not just competing to be able to go to DreamHack win. I mean, he's not just looking forward to the DreamHack winner, but also the 750 WCS points. As far as I know, Stardust isn't even on the scoreboard for that. Barely any points, if any at all. So this is a great way to start getting, plunging, I guess, head first into the WCS, and it's going to be a great way to get a little bit closer towards that BlizzCon at the end of the year.
That's right. You know, Stardust, this is his first major showing in StarCraft 2. He's been a decent little player, undercover little player, who's now finally come out and is really showing some of the best games in his StarCraft 2 career. But now he needs to show better than that. He needs to go further than that. He needs to play harder than that if he's going to be able to bring down the tyrant that is Jaedong from Team Evil Geniuses. Guys, sorry for the wait, but the finals is about to begin. We are loading into the first map. We'll try it one more time. I hope you're ready. Are you ready for the grand finals?
I think they're ready.
I think they're ready too, Nathanius. I'm ready, you're ready. Let's begin.
This is going to be our map to open up the finals. Belshir Vestige tries again, spawning in the top left position as the red Zerg player. Coming in from Team Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong. Stone Cold Killer.
Stone Cold Killer, exactly. Look at that face.
Many a nerd has died before his hand, and his opponent in the bottom right position as the blue Protoss player coming in from Team My Insanity. Who thought he'd make it here? It is Stardust!
Whatever happens here to Stardust, he either becomes a champion or everybody gives him the respect he deserves as a StarCraft 2 player. But he is going up against Jaedong, who wants to win more than anything here. He's got one StarCraft 2 title from a good couple of months back, but he wants the biggest. This would be his biggest accomplishment. For both players, it would be their biggest accomplishment. And we're going to find out what strategies they're going to use, aggressive, defensive. Are they going to play cheeky? Are we going to see some sly tactics come into play? Anything is possible. Remember, it's a best of 5, as mentioned before. First player to get those 3 wins.
And as for your mentioning of those tactics, we have seen a wide variety of strategies from both of these players, both on the aggressive front and both on the defensive front. We've seen Jaedong go for fast baneling busts. We've seen him go for crazy late game play against Terran. But what we haven't seen, like we said earlier, is much of that ZVP. Classically kind of seen as one of his weaker matchups. We are going to have Stardust, however, playing that Nexus first. Very bold, strong way of saying, I'm confident in this match and I want to get an edge early on.
Exactly. So what we're seeing Stardust do is, by taking a Nexus first, he's looking to grab he's having 2 expansions by taking this. He's not building any aggressive units, he's not increasing his technology until quite a lot later on in this game. It's a balance between economy and technology at this point here. With the Forging Gateway coming down, he's creating a wall to make sure that it's defended. A cannon could be built after the Forge to make sure that nothing can happen to this. On the other side of things, Jaedong up here has naturally taken his expansion down first. Zerg players, of course, need to expand a lot more rapidly than Protoss players and, of course, Terran players. But he has taken a geyser, a Vespene geyser, to start to bring in gas. This will allow him to get Zergling speed, to increase his Zerglings, to make them a lot faster. He can deny scouting. He can be aggressive. He can do something crazy. Anything's possible from these 2 positions for sure.
And that's, that variety, keeping those threats open is one of the keys here to taking this championship. Neither of these players can afford to be terribly predictable to one another, since, it's the final match of the day. Anything goes. If these guys had anything that they were saving for any point in this tournament, it is about to come out right now, Apollo.
I completely agree with you. And we talked about how Stardust is super aggressive. Jaedong has decided to get Zergling speed because of this. With Zergling speed, he's going to be able to keep tabs on every single movement or every single movement that Stardust pushes over into the map. For example, this probe. The probe was going to scout on there. He's been able to track it. He's also going to be able to do... Oh my God. He is building 10 Zerglings. Okay. He is going to try and win this game incredibly early. With Zergling speed, we're going to see nothing but Zergling production. He has to hide this information away from Stardust. He's going to try and break down that front wall. He's going to try and break it down, take an easy first win. But if it gets scouted, this is pretty dangerous. He's hiding his Zerglings on the left-hand side here.
He needs to make sure he can eliminate this probe so that it can't take a tower or at the very least run into these units. At the same time, Stardust sending a Zealot over to the third base location. Apollo, Jaedong, he's put a hatchery here, but the most this is going to do is fool Stardust into thinking he's playing economically.
Stardust is like, oh, there's a third base. That's normal. That's normal. This kind of comes down at this time. And then all of a sudden, Jaedong will probably cancel it after. Oh, the Zerglings are coming.
There's nothing blocking this wall, Apollo.
There is nothing blocking this wall. Remember, at the same time, Stardust is trying to go aggressive himself, but oh my god, he gets a Stalker to block the wall.
And he doesn't have quite enough surface area to get through this. He is going to try to just punch through it anyway. At the same time, another pylon thrown down to help increase the strength of this wall. Stardust realizes the threat. He's going to continue to produce buildings here. He needs to just hold off by as much time as possible. But this leaves the Cybernetics core vulnerable. He's going to have that warp gate shut down at the same time.
Is the wall going to be broken? The Cybernetics core goes down! And the gateway and forge are going down next. There is not a force field available. Stardust needs to construct more walls, need to keep on building a wall. If this is broken down, he will lose this game. One force field goes down to keep the life of the cannon alive, but it does fall down. Two more cannons. Is Stardust going to make the hold?
He's basically playing tower defense here, trying to funnel these Zerglings into a tight choke so that he can focus them down using the time that he gets. He only has 2 cannons. There's a lot of Zerglings. He needs time to be able to use those cannons to actually finish them all off at the same time. He's building another forge. He's going to be able to produce more cannons if he needs to. But most importantly, he has to restart Warp Gate. He's producing Zealots 5 at a time off of raw gateways inside of his base.
So right now, Jaedong, this has failed. Double cannons are down, units are coming out, 2 sentries are on the way. But what he did do was bring down the Cybernetics core, which has slowed down Warp Gate research for a very long time in this game. Without that, he cannot be aggressive. Behind this, Jaedong now is forced to kind of recover what he lost, and that was drones. Because he went so aggressive, he didn't have any drones, and he didn't have the best economy. So at this point, he's trying to recover that, but he has to be so careful. There are so many gateways down in the main base. There's gateways down in the natural as well, and with +1 attack coming in, this can still be Stardust's game. He can still move out from this position once that Warp Gate research finally finishes.
One of the interesting things to bring up, though, is that fake-out hatchery that he placed at the third base to try to trick him into thinking he was playing economically. He can use that now. He can use it for the injections to be able to get additional larvae. We already see that he has drones mining there, which at the very least is going to help him spread his saturation out. He won't mine out as quickly in his natural because he's able to split those drones between which mineral patches they're mining. The Overlord comes in for Jaedong. It's not going to see too much, but more gateways are going down, Apollo.
All right, so Stardust is still trying to win this game within the next couple of minutes. Jaedong is still in recovery. He's building drones. He's just thrown down 2 evolution chambers, which are there to increase and upgrade his units. If Jaedong continues too much on the recovery path, builds too many drones, increases his economy by too much, Stardust is about to break out, and he is coming for the win. Jaedong needs to realize this. He needs to start building units. Zerglings aren't so good. Jaedong doesn't see this at the point. Oh, he may have just seen a glip of those units. Now he does see them.
And this is a part where Stardust could try to force field some of these lings in. He does have a decent number of Zealots. The 1-1 starting for Jaedong. At this point, all he needs is time. Slow this push down. Burn a couple of the force fields. Don't let Stardust get that gateway army built up and on top of his expansion. We actually see Jaedong building his lair now, so he's going to be able to get a little more health on that hatchery, which is kind of an interesting decision.
Well, Jaedong needs to buy time. If his upgrades can finish, as we see in the production, he could still win this game. But that's a long, long way. That's a good 1 to 2 minutes away from this. Stardust is already on the move. He's got pylons. Jaedong's bringing them down. The reinforcement pylons are going down. That means Stardust only has this army. He's got a probe with this. He's going to build another one. Jaedong brings the back 2 down. Good force fields, trapping a lot of these units. Spine crawlers coming down for Jaedong. Can he make the defense? Can he do it?
This has been that very gateway-heavy style we've seen out of Stardust against even Hyun. And I really like he's got the Spine Crawlers building at that third base. Turning it into a lair gives him extra health on that building. He wants to keep it alive as long as possible. And his upgrades, only about a minute away now. All he needs to do is survive. But as more time goes by, there's more energy on the sentries. More sentries warped, and 5 coming in. He's relying purely on force fields to guarantee him an advantage in these fights.
Here we go. Stardust makes the move, and the force fields need to cut the Zerglings away. Prevent them from getting the full surround. Jaedong comes from the south. He's going to come from the east and also the west. A triangular positional attack. Can Jaedong do it? He's seconds away from upgrades. Look how close they are. But he's going to go now. Here he comes.
The Spine Crawlers were all built to the third to defend that. The Force is going to lock a lot of these Zerglings in. He will attempt to cut off the reinforcing pylons, but there is so much here for Stardust. He has a supply advantage. All he needs to do is not dive into this. The 1-1, though, about to complete for Jaedong. This is going to give him a little bit of that upgrade advantage. It's also going to help make that +1 attack for the Zealots not quite so strong anymore, but he's able to keep the reinforcing pylons alive. And Jaedong, he's in a pretty rough spot if Stardust doesn't engage into these Spine Crawlers.
The problem is, though, for Jaedong, despite having the upgrades, does he have the quantity of units? He may have quality, but he is down by 40 supply. Force fields trapping in the Zerglings. A great move here by Stardust. Whoa.
Well, too tense there for us, and he's going to be able to push now a little bit closer towards that natural. There are already 2 Spine Crawlers. We have 4 more on the way for the Evil Genius's Zerg. He needs to get these Zealots in front of his army, though. It's mostly the Stalkers and the Sentries. It's kind of a difficult balance between how far does he want to push out before he risks losing those pylons. Once he cuts off the reinforcements, that's it. He can't afford to lose that until he knows he's going to be able to win the game with this push.
Jaedong's creating Spine Crawlers on his third base and his natural. These are static defense, which are going to help him try to hold this position. But is it going to be enough? He actually has 2-2 on the way. So if he's able to reach 2-2, that increases his upgrade advantage even further. Behind this, though, Stardust is thinking about an escape path. He has his own 2-2 on the way. He has the robotics facility, 5 more sentries. That's 6 more sets of force fields available here.
And the interesting thing to point out, though, is that there is a Twilight Council for Stardust. He's not completely all in. With his Mothership Core, he can recall at any time straight back to his base. And his own 2-2 is coming in. This is going to give him so much more firepower versus this. But with so many Spine Crawlers engaging with Pure Gateway, almost suicide, he's going to take a third base. I love this decision, Paulo. He's really put Jaedong in this super defensive survival mode, and he doesn't have to commit.
Yeah, I mean, if he tries to attack into the super heavy defense that Jaedong's committed to here, he may lose the game. So why would you do that? He's now going to go ahead and take a third base while Jaedong is suffering back at home, only at 100 supply. He's crippled when it comes to his own economy. And any of...
Great force fields pitching off a lot of these Zerglings of Jaedong. And this army is just kind of sitting here saying, okay, we're not going to be able to transfer anything. Zerglings for Jaedong at the same time, trying to shut down this third base. But the Zealot Warpins will be enough to hold this off, and he's going to try to push in.
Jaedong is saying, I hope my static defense and reinforcements are good enough, because I'm going to go kill you now, and at least attempt to kill him. He's going to try and bring this third base down. Swarm hosts, the Locusts, the Enduring Locusts for the Swarm hosts are on the way, but for now, Jaedong launches a counterattack here. This is going to, this has to push Stardust through.
And now he's going to go in. Stardust realizing he needs to commit a little bit. Once those Swarm hosts come out, it's so cost-effective versus Gateway units. The Zealots, though, they're trapped behind the Sentries and Stalkers. They're not getting in that damage they need to actually pick these Spine Crawlers off. He's advancing, using the Guardian Shield to reduce that range damage. There's so much here for the Protoss player. He is going to be able to push through these static defenses, moving into the natural. A lot of drones being pulled behind the mineral line. He's trying to save everything he can. The Swarmos are on the way, but will they come in time, Apollo?
Well, the Swarmos are going to come down. Stardust actually has no detection. Great force was there by Stardust, locking the Zerglings away.
And he's going to flinch so many of them in. There are the Swarmos. They're not quite enough yet to stop this force. He's got his 2-2 upgrades complete. He's beginning to push in a little bit closer towards that main. His natural is secure. The third base was denied, but at this point, if he can get inside this main and do critical damage to the remaining economy of Jaedong, he's going to be able to win. And there's a GG. Stardust opens 1-0 in this best-of-5 series here at the DreamHack Summer Open Finals.
That's right, Stardust takes map number 1. Are we going to have this real underdog story? The Tyrant, Jaedong, needs to gather his thoughts, needs to get back and ready to take on Stardust in game number 2. An explosive start here for Stardust.
Quite an exciting game. We saw that incredibly aggressive speedling all-in from Jaedong. But, like you said, the amount of time that it took Jaedong to recover from that all-in, it just didn't have enough. And the counter push from Stardust, he's been playing this super gateway heavy style all series long. We saw him do it against Hyun to great success, and it's just such a powerful way, relying on his force field micro to give him the edge in these games.
I mean, if you want to look at how that really shaped out, Jaedong in the early stages decided for a super aggressive attack. It didn't work. Behind it, he went into recovery mode, recovering his economy, getting upgrades, trying to pull himself back into game, back into shape. Unfortunately, Stardust decided to move out, come for an attack, and from that position was able to stay strong in between Jaedong's bases, suffocate his economy, suffocate Jaedong's growth in this game, and by eventually, time after time, was able to take down game number 1.
And Stardust must be feeling great moving into this second game. A lot of people really here cheering for Jaedong especially, but Stardust, time and time again he says, I don't need everyone to be on my back. I know that I can do this. I've put in the time, I've put in the effort, and he's certainly given the results here to be able to say he can take out Jaedong in this series, and a 1-0 is a great way to prove that he is ready to make that happen.
Well, if this was to be, Stardust's first major victory, I'm pretty sure that he and his team are going to be ecstatic with this win. Jaedong, on the other hand, from Team Evil Geniuses, a very well-established North American organization. Both players want to win. Both organizations want their player to win. Who is going to do it? Let's load into map number 2.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we might have had a little bit of a technical difficulty there with the map.
It said Jaedong was defeated, but that doesn't count.
He still has to play again.
We're going to reload the map. It's not 2-0 for Stardust. Sorry, NY Insanity. I know you'd be very much helpful.
The rules aren't that strict.
Not that strict. So we are going to be loading into this again here, so just bear with us 1 second. What's your opinion on Stardust's play, especially with that hold? What are your thoughts on that hold, and then his decision to go for a killing blow afterwards?
Well, as far as what he did to survive, you could say, oh, he threw up a ton of pylons, and he's very panicking, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and that was not die. When you're in a situation where your opponent has cut both their economy and their tech to get a lot of army, you put yourself in a situation where Stardust, he had his army, he had his gateways ready, he had his economy. All he needed to do, even though he lost the tech, he still had one up on his opponent, having 2 of the 3 core components to win that game. He protected the economy, and that was all he needed to snowball that advantage into winning that game.
All right, well, both players now already. Looks like we will be jumping into this next map, which is Neoplanet S. Have any quick thoughts on this?
I think it's going to be a little harder to get to third base, but time after time, we've seen from Stardust, he doesn't need it.
All right, let's try that again. Let's get into map number 2.
And here we are on Neoplanet S, spawning in the bottom left position as the red Zerg player from Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong! Can't be too happy with dropping the first map here in this finals. He did say he was going to win. He's looking forward to starting his reign of terror. But this guy's in the way. Spawning in the top right position as the blue Protoss player is actually sporting that light decal, former North American team he was on. It is from MY Insanities. It is Stardust.
All right, so just to remind you guys once again, this is a best of 5. Stardust has opened up with the first victory in his favor. He now needs to win the next 2 if he wants to 3-0 this, and we'll see how that plays out. Remember, it's the first player to get 3 wins, not necessarily in a row, but 3 wins in total. Currently, Stardust 1-0 over the Evil Geniuses superstar, Jaedong.
Now, one thing I do want to bring in, and as far as mentality goes between these players, Jaedong obviously came into this match feeling confident. You could almost say that even losing that first map wouldn't throw him off too much. He picked a bit of a gambling build there, going for that super fast speed. He hadn't really scouted enough to be able to say that it was definitely going to work. So as far as that strategy goes, his mindset could still be very fresh for this game.
And when it comes to playing a best of 5, there's a lot of different styles to play it. Do you open up aggressive at the start of the series? Do you go ahead and take it slower and change the rhythm of your play throughout the series? As you can see on screen, both players playing incredibly fast. Both of these players actually go up to incredible speeds while playing. 200, 300, even 400 actions per minute in the heat of the battle in a StarCraft 2 game.
And that's, that speed, that intensity really shows when you get into these do or die situations. He is going to open up with this Forge now, getting this gateway. And as far as the mindset for Stardust goes, I think when you do take that first map, playing aggressively, you can get into a situation where you start to snowball that aggression a little bit. Still at that Nexus first play though, I feel like Stardust is feeling super confident, and we could see another aggressive play.
On this map, Neoplanet S, as you mentioned earlier, it's a very small two-player map. The distances between the bases are not that far away from each other. So if we were to see, as you can see, this is the mini-map just enlarged. The Overlord's getting across the map. There's the Stardust at the top right, Jaedong on the bottom left. The distance is not that far. So if we were to see Stardust do something aggressive, he doesn't really have to travel that far. And what I think we're going to see in this game is Stardust, earlier on in this tournament, brought out a new kind of build that not too many people have seen, involving a timing attack revolving around +2 and +1, +2 attack that is, and +1 armor. A lot of units hitting around the 12-minute mark, I think it was, with lots of power behind it. We saw players die to it instantly.
He dismantled Hyun actually quite expertly, and it was the force field. He picks a build that relies more on his control, and that's one of the powers of this. It's not that easy to counter the style that he chooses because his force fields are so damn good. You can't just avoid them. You have to deal with them or you have to give up your bases. And right now, Stardust feeling so confident. I wouldn't be surprised if this is even how he plowed through Violet. He's just going so strong in this tournament with this build.
Well, I'm just looking on the natural of Stardust. He's chrono boosting his warp gate research. And again, another chrono boost into the warp gate research, which is speeding up that research. He's only on 2 gases, and look, in the main simulator, it's a fake. There's nothing mining from it. This means that his mineral count's a lot higher because he's not focusing on gas. Another chrono boost in the Southern X core. What we're going to see now is a flurry of gateways coming in, and he's going to go for a big attack early. It's not going to be the build I described earlier, but here are the gateways coming down. Jaedong has an Overlord slightly west. If he's to spot this, he will have the heads up necessary to defend against it. But if he doesn't see it coming, how can he make the defense? But on the right-hand side down here, a probe is making its way. An Overlord, is it going to spot the pylon? Is it going to see the probe building the pylon where the reinforcements are going to come from?
This pylon's so important. Oh, he's going to build it right in the vision of that Overlord. The pylon is so important in the warp and reinforcement area to be able to actually keep the push going. We saw Stardust had to defend his pylon very diligently on Belshear to be able to keep bringing in those sentries. Jaedong immediately going to send Zerglings to take that out.
Yeah, and inside the main base, Jaedong's sending an Overlord. He's seen an extra gateway. If he goes up there, you can see the rest of him, but I'm pretty sure he knows something's going on. 2 spine crawlers are being made. Aggressive units are being made, or should I say defensive units. In this case, Jaedong needs to defend this.
He has managed to protect his pylon, Stardust being, and this is going to allow him to continue this force. Now, as far as the units that he has, there's a lot of Stalkers. The Zerglings, though, don't have Speed Apollo. It wasn't researched yet, and that's going to allow him to do so much extra damage to this. But we do not actually see that huge number of sentries with this force, so he's going for more mobile tactics, relying a little bit more on brute force rather than positioning.
Spine crawler cancelled here. I don't know why. I think Jaedong's just going to sacrifice this base here. This is going to go down. This is going to be very, very difficult for Jaedong to hold on to. Roaches are popping. Zerglings are coming. Is he going to be able to make the defense possible?
Well, he doesn't have too many zealots. He is now warping in another wave of them. These slow Zerglings, it's really difficult for them to get into a position where they can surround. So it's going to come purely down to how many roaches he can produce to actually just overpower this. But Stardust, with so many warp gates to continue just piling these units in wave after wave, is going to chew through a lot of these links until that speed finishes. Jaedong just needs to buy time. He is doing a lot of damage with these roaches to the Stalkers, but he's not producing any workers. And we also see that if Stardust doesn't do a credible amount of damage with this, he could be vulnerable to a counterattack himself.
Jaedong's making the hold, but these Stalkers and Dallas do have a +1 attack when makes them do a little bit more damage to this. Is Stardust going to keep this going? Jaedong, is he making the hold here? Was that cancel of a spine crawler saying, I don't need 2 spine crawlers to defend this? Who are you? And Jaedong continues with this. The hatchery's alive. 18 Zerglings are on the way. Stardust is running out of steam here.
He is going to go for another big warp in, trying to press through this ramp. That spine crawler adding in so much DPS. And now Jaedong, 16 Zerglings, 3 more roaches on the way. this next wave of reinforcements, he could try to swing them around, get a surround on this Protoss army. Another important thing to note, there's no mothership core here. He doesn't have that ability to just recall out of the fight. He has to take the fight or die, and he's going to go for it. The Zealots running up. There's so many roaches, though. Jaedong continuing to shove this force farther back away from his third.
He is making the defense at the moment with more and more units streaming across. Stardust is struggling to reach over 70 supply, the number that we see directly bottom of the screen. And without that increasing and Jaedong being at 85 here, he's just continuing. He's making workers. He's making 7, 9, 11 drones. Jaedong says, this was easy. I defended it. What are you going to do to me next?
And, you know, I feel like the choice for Stardust to not go for that force field heavy play has really made it difficult for him to actually win that positional battle. He took the fake gas, but that means he can really only make Zealots. Behind this, like you said, Jaedong going double evolution chamber. He's really going to amp up those upgrades, and we see a robotics facility coming in for Stardust. He's going to be able to use this to get a couple of mortals out, of course, to deal with the roaches. They're very powerful versus them. The big problem, though, given this early aggression, since Jaedong has managed to get that third base, he's getting a Hydralisk Den. Stardust, he's not in an easy position to get that third. It's so extended, it's so far away. Walling that off, nay, impossible after the huge investment that he's made to attack Jaedong.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in game number 1, Jaedong tried something aggressive, it didn't work, and he fell behind in the game economically and with upgrades. It's kind of a vice versa situation now. Stardust attempted to bring Jaedong down early. It didn't work. So now, Jaedong has 1-1 upgrades on the way. He's increased his tech all the way up to a Hydralisk Den, and now we're seeing Hydralisk come in. Hydralisks are the best Zerg units against gateway units, which is pretty much all we see from Stardust at this point. Zealots, Stalkers, Sentries with a Mothership core in the air, and now Immortals being thrown in. Jaedong, all he needs to do is make a massive army, and no matter what happens, Stardust has two choices at this point. Stardust either A, goes for another attack, or B, tries to take an expansion and defend it. Both of those come to one conclusion for Jaedong. Make an army, defend number A, defend the attack, or B, go and kill his expansion. Jaedong's just going to make a massive army and go for it.
And the really important thing to consider in this situation is that Jaedong's had this third base for so long. Not losing that economy means making that army, it's not like it's a big investment for him, but if Stardust wants to produce units to defend, that's going to cut into this expansion. And especially with the creep now being spread over his third base, he has to wait for this to go away. He has to kill the Overlord, let the creep dissipate, and this is going to lean a little bit closer to him going for this attack. He is pushing out of his natural Apollo.
Yeah, so it looks like Stardust is going to go for an attack here. He doesn't have that too many probes behind supporting his economy. He's got a very large army. It'll be almost a waste not to go for an attack here. He's well overbuilt the defense, especially when he goes up here and says, oh, I can't take an expansion. There's creep on the floor. That's going to take ages to reside. I feel he will go for an attack. Either way, Jaedong is up to 171 supply compared to 116. That's up to 182 now. And he's continuing to add on units. And now his 1-1 upgrades have completed. Jaedong will go for an attack. No matter what happens, he is coming for you.
And this is going to be, you know, a little bit more supplemented by the fact that he is getting the speed upgrade for the Hydralisk, which makes him move so much faster off of creep. It allows him to get into a very nice position when engaging versus these force fields. The Infestation Pit is coming up, though. Jaedong's not looking to end this game right now. He still has the later stages in mind. And with these Immortals and Sentries advancing on this army, he needs to be a little bit careful about where he takes an engagement. He does have some units on the left side who try to bait out the force fields, or at least get a bit of a sandwich setup. He does have a lot of Zerglings, though, going for a counterattack towards where that third base would potentially be.
Yeah, he thinks it may be there, but in reality it's not. As we see this attack is coming in, Jaedong's now realized that there's no third base. He realizes an attack is coming, so 3 spine crawlers have been made on his third base. He's going to look to try to defend this off. If Jaedong defends this attack from Stardust, which is so weak, it's down to 150 supply compared to 200, Jaedong will tie this series up.
Yes, and you know, he's managing to at least try to clear out some of these creep tumors, giving himself a little bit of this edge. Actually, he doesn't have an observer to do that, so this means Jaedong has full vision of his army. The Mothership Core gets taken out, the Time Warp gun pretty much completely useless, maybe slowing down a couple of these roaches. Jaedong actually giving up a few of them to those force fields. And Stardust, he's going to get a little bit here, but I'm not sure that's going to be quite enough. 98 army supply to 126 for Jaedong. He is, however, finishing up that +2 armor. He does have the +2 attack, so Stardust in this next fight will have an upgrade advantage.
Look at this strategical decision from Jaedong. Spine crawls on the high ground. They're actually going to attack down into these units, and Jaedong's going to go with them. and he's got a lot of Hydras here. 10 are about to pop. You know, Jaedong is going to have 2-2 shortly. A couple of roaches do get trapped, so we are seeing Stardust kind of whittle down this Zerg army. He's still hovering around the 150 supply, pushing up to 160 actually, so he is becoming more powerful as time goes on. He does have 2-2 upgrades versus Jaedong's 1-1, an advantage that will carry over into any fight he takes. But Jaedong is narrowly closing in on 2-2 upgrades of his own.
And the problem here now for Stardust is without that third base, his main slowly but surely running out of resources.
Yeah.
You take new bases so that you can accumulate more minerals, but his main base is going to mine out, so he's been mining it for so long. We're almost 20 minutes into this game, just past the 18-minute mark, and Jaedong with the third base, with the extra money, he can throw down lots of spine crawlers. He can invest his extra resources into static defense. That makes holding this push even easier. And now we see Vipers coming in, the Burrow upgrade. 2-2 is complete for Jaedong, and with this many spine crawlers, I'm not sure if Stardust is going to be able to push into this base in about a minute or two.
Yeah, Stardust is looking for an opportunity here, and I think it's going to arise. The fight may happen here. Hydra is spitting their damage over the force field, doing so much damage here to this army, and we're seeing Stardust drop down to 130 supply. Jaedong maintains that high-end supply count, maximum being 200 supply. He's always near the maximum here, and with Spine Crawlers finishing up, this is almost impossible. Now we're seeing Vipers coming in. What they're doing is building their energy up from the hive inside the main base. What they're going to aim to do is grab the powerful units, which are the Immortals. He's going to pull them into his army, and he's going to just weaken Stardust's army. Here we go. He's going to grab the Immortals. 1 gets pulled in, 2 gets pulled in, 3 gets pulled in, and now Stardust's army sinking in value.
The most powerful units in Stardust's army are gone. He's going to push in, but there's all this static defense. So many Hydralisks, a great concave for the Zerg player. He's going to overpower this Protoss army, and Jaedong is looking to tie this series up 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to win this fight decisively. GG!
Jaedong ties it up, fighting for the Swarm here as he represents Zerg. He represents evil geniuses as well. And we will be going to game number 3. It's 1 apiece in this best of 5. Jaedong keeps his tournament life alive, because if he had lost that map, being 0-2 down on match point for 3 games in a row, that's a lot of pressure. Now it's a level playing field once again.
And that's very, very important. Jaedong, he took a pretty hard loss in game number 1. Game number 2, though, he not only showed that he could win against Stardust, but he showed that he could hold one of his more classic styles. He could hold off the force fieldless composition. Still, though, we could see Stardust move back into that composition he went for in game number 1 as we do move forward. The next, map is going to be Star Station.
That's right, so we are going to be jumping into this next map pretty much immediately here. As you can see, we have a lot of people watching this. We've reached over 100,000 live viewers on stream, on Twitch TV as well. There's a lot of people watching on the internet. There's a lot of people watching on SVT1 right now as well. And there is a ton of people here watching live.
And it's quite an honor to have so many people tuning in. This series has been, I think, pretty promising so far as far as the excitement goes. The tension has been built up. A lot of aggressive openings, but solid holds by both of these players. And as far as this next match goes, I feel like Star Station is going to be another map where it's quite difficult to acquire that third base for Stardust. Now, as far as what Jaedong needs to do, he can still open up aggressively, he can still open up economically, but Apollo, what do you think will be the best decision for both of these players moving on to this next map?
Okay, Star Station. Let me talk about it in a minute, because we're about to load in. As soon as we introduce these 2 players, I will go into the nitty-gritty, dirty stuff.
That will be quite interesting to hear, but yes, we are on Star Station, and spawning in the top right position as the Red Zerg player just tied this series up 1-1, this best of 5 from Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong. Emotions are running high, Apollo, but you couldn't tell if you looked at Jaedong's face. And the crowd, you can tell in their faces. And this guy spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Protoss player from Team My Insanity, it is Stardust.
All right, so it is tied 1 apiece. Jaedong with 1 win, Stardust with 1 win. But what I want to talk about when it comes to this map, Star Station, a lot of Protoss players have a bit of a difficult time on it against Zerg players. And the reason for that is, on the third base location, when you attempt to take it as a Protoss player, it's very, very difficult to defend it, simply because it's out in the open. You need to cover a large range of area with force fields if you're going to be able to hold this down. If we saw on the previous couple of maps, the locations around the map, whether it be aggressively or defensively, it's very easy to land force fields down and be able to hold the location. So if we have a look at the third base location here for Stardust, which is this base right here, look at the amount of open space around it. There's a massive flank from the left-hand side, there's a ramp straight in the middle, and even on the right-hand side. Force fields are not that big. They're kind of small, and you're going to have to use a lot of them to defend it. And if that's the case, if Jaedong goes for something aggressive, it is a little bit more difficult for Protoss players to defend. So what we often see on this map from Protoss players is an aggressive two-base push.
And it's very important, very interesting that you mentioned how many force fields you need to cover that area. We have seen Stardust go for many heavy sentry-based all-ins, and I feel like that could be key here because the ramp area, or at least the area leading into the natural expansion, the second base is so much more narrow, it's much easier to abuse the positional play. But both players, once again, going for the very economic openers.
Oh, look at that.
And he's going to actually take a second hatchery quite quickly. Jaedong basically trying to take advantage of the fact that he's anticipating his opponent going for this very heavy economic open.
Yeah, so what I just want to talk about here, Stardust in every single game. In StarCraft 2, it's a strategy game, right? If you start to see patterns occur from your opponent, if he does X build time after time after time, there are builds that you can do to take an advantage over it. For example, in this game, and throughout all of Stardust, Zerg versus Protoss games, or should I say Protoss versus Zerg games, he opens up Nexus first for the majority of them. So in this case, there's no early rushes happening. There's no early attacks that Jaedong needs to be worried about. So what he's decided to do in this game is say, well, if that's going to be the case, why don't I take a really early third base? If you can't do anything about it, why wouldn't I want to improve my economy and give myself a bit of a bigger surge when it comes to the 6, 7, 8 minute mark?
And a really cool thing about taking the fast third base as a Zerg on this map, if Stardust does go for that big sentry play, go for the big sentry Stalker Immortal push, force within the natural, it's pretty rough. But if he can force an engagement by the third base, he'll have to expend a lot more force fields to be able to get that positional advantage. So what Jaedong wants to do is take a clear lead here. This probe for Stardust is going to be able to scout this, however. +1 attack coming in pretty early, Apollo.
Look at this, though. I definitely feel here that we may see something aggressive from Stardust. I was a little bit distracted then. I got a bit of honey in my ear as I was pouring myself some honey and tea, and I was scratching my ear at the same time.
British folk in your tea.
Yeah, you know, we love our cups of tea, don't we? But looking into this game is that Stardust has spotted the third hatchery. He knows it's down. He needs to do something to kind of punish this, whether it be being greedy and teching up incredibly fast himself or being incredibly aggressive himself. I haven't seen any, tech structures yet from Stardust. What is it? Okay, robotics facility coming down. So what I think that this may be is the build I described before.
And yeah, I feel like this is a pretty popular strategy, at least in Stardust, but something that he's really been employing quite significantly, going for the Immortals either for the forward pressure onto the Roaches or at least moving with a lot of sentries. And we do have those sentries already being produced. Stardust getting ready to get active on this map, already moving in with the Zealot and the Stalker, pressuring this Queen. The Zealot is quite low on hit points, though. The Zerglies, though, what they really want is that Stalker, and they are going to be able to trap it here. A really big score if he can pick it off. Barely getting away. Stardust, that Stalker. Ooh, it's fearing for its life.
There's a couple of options for Stardust to choose from, and he has thrown down the Twilight Council and Forge. He's putting down that pylon to fake aggression, to prevent Jaedong from powering his economy too much. This is actually a brilliant play from Stardust. A simple little maneuver has forced Jaedong to build 12 Zerglings. He thinks his opponent's going for, as described, an early 7 to 8 minute 2-base push. He's even been denied scouting. Jaedong's throwing down a Spine Crawler. His economy's been hindered because he's producing defensive units. In reality, Stardust isn't looking to push out for another good 5 minutes. He's actually powering up with double forges, upgrading twice so he's going to be getting +2 attack and also +1 armor from both of these forges. He will also, from the robotics facility, after this observer's been made, which is going to find out what Jaedong's doing, start immortal production. And as I say that, we do have a third Nexus coming down here, so it looks like, I was trying to describe this kind of 2-base attack I thought was coming, but with this third base, he's going to take this third base, he will start immortal production. And around the 12 to 13 minute mark, he will go for a massive 3-base push. We've seen this play before.
Yeah, and the cool thing about how this works is, since he forced out the Zerglings so early, Jaedong deciding, okay, well, there's nothing here, so I'm going to go put some pressure on myself. He is going to go for a very interesting play, though, the Spire, but like, just finishing my point, by not having a crazy amount of economy, like you said, to get those Zerglings. If Stardust defends is basically quite fine, the Sentry's having to use their force fields, and he might actually be able to deny this third.
This is a big win here for Jaedong, putting a spanner in the works if he's able to bring this down.
The Roach is going to be able to get right on top, killing the Stalker, killing the Sentries, and the Tyrant is going to be shutting this Nexus down. The production is not yet fully set up for Stardust. He is getting the Immortals out, he is getting his +1/1, but these 3 Sentries and this Immortal are going to try to stop this, the ebb and flow of these Zerglings and Roaches, and the Immortal quite strong, but he's going to barely save this.
Big play there by Stardust. Jaedong can't be happy with that. That Nexus should have gone down there. He's trying to run by. Oh, perfect warp in there by Stardust. Oh,
what?
Maybe not.
He manages to slip by the Zealot. That means he can get inside the main base mineral line. A lot of that army is already outside the probes. Going to go for some hand-to-hand combat against them. He will be able to get this around and take those out. But the +2 attack is going to complete. The +1 armor, something we haven't seen. 11 Mutalisks coming out from our Zerg player, Apollo. This is a bit different.
And also, if you look in the middle of the map here, oh, actually, excuse that. He has scouted this. He's seen the Spire. The Observer's been chased away, so he doesn't know quite where Jaedong's army is and what it's doing. We are going to see Stardust now approaching this 11-12 minute mark, push out. He's coming for another attack. Jaedong has decided to build Mutalisks. They're going to fly around. They're going to be a nuisance to deal with. He could counterattack with them. He could make sure he sets up a major defense at home. He has many options. But look, that army moving out, what is missing?
Well, it's
Stalkers.
It's anti-air.
No
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is these Mutalisks so good on this map. There's a lot of airspace around the natural, around the main base. Even that third he can duck in from. But this push, he basically needs to do crippling amounts of damage while simultaneously holding off the aerial aggression. The Sentries do have a bit of damage, but they're not quite as powerful versus these units. And there's nothing here to stop these Mutalisks in the natural.
All right, Jaedong's going to go for this counterattack. He doesn't quite bring down that third Nexus once again. It does get saved. Mutalisks doing a lot of damage. Probes are going down. This is hurting the economy, but remember, there's a big attack up there. What Jaedong's planning to do is hurt the economy so much that the aggressive Stalkers can't be made. And down falls the third Nexus. And if Jaedong can hinder the anti-air production and keep his Mutalisk count increasing, he'll be able to win this game. There just simply won't be enough anti-air.
Yeah, and the other thing is he does have the Stalkers now trying to come in here, trying to make something happen. If he can defend this, he is doing a lot of damage to Jaedong's bases, but Mutalisks, with the rapid regeneration of their health, they heal faster than any other Zerg unit, is going to be able to take these fights, and as long as he can slowly but surely kill the Stalkers that are being warped in, he's going to win this game. All the Stalkers are dead. The Mothership Core activates its last potion overcharge to allow the Nexus to fight, but the Cybernetics Core, if he kills this, he won't be able to make any more anti-air at all.
Yeah, if he kills that Cybernetics Core, goodbye anti-air. That's going to sting. He's only got 2 Stalkers and 6 Sentries. Sentries, he's got 6 of them, but they tickle Mutalisks. They rub their bellies. They don't do the damage necessary like Stalkers do. And all of a sudden, Stardust is in trouble. Despite Jaedong being down in supply, he can't build any anti-air. There's a bunch of spine crawlers coming down. Look at the supplies. It shows that Stardust is winning, but he doesn't have anti-air. Only 6 Sentries versus 12 Mutalisks. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have a Cybernetics Core. Jaedong is mining so many minerals and building static defense to hold off that 1-1 base.
What Stardust is basically doing right now, he's saying, okay, my only chance at winning this game is if I can somehow kill off all of your buildings before you completely cripple me, or at least kill off all of mine. The Zerglings and the Mutalisks are going to shut down basically the last vestige hope of Stardust. There are a couple of photon cannons that they do count as anti-air, but there's not enough of them. They're going to be killed off as well. And Stardust, he has actually shut down a lot of this, but all he needs is a single drone to run to the other side of the map, build a, just create an extractor or something like that. But he actually doesn't have any more money.
Oh,
where are Jaedong's buildings?
He's attacking into the spine crawlers here. A bad decision because there's simply only 2 Immortals. And Jaedong's going to return, I think. maybe not. Hold on a minute. He's going to kill this Nexus first, then go. So if he kills this Nexus, there is no way at all to rebuild it. There's no way at all to actually, you know, mine money to make anti-air. There's only those sentries, and he's already lost a couple. Jaedong needs to return. He cannot lose this base himself. Remember, he only has a couple of structures left. Jaedong, Mutalisks. Mutalisks, where are they?
Well, they're now finally making their way over, but the Zealots and Immortals might be able to pick off these remaining buildings. Of course, the Broodlings that come out from the destroyed Zerg villains to try to stop this. What does Jaedong have left?
Oh.
Just these two extractors. Stardust could win this game.
Stardust down the south. Probes are going to kill the last
Oh my
extractor.
god! He's gonna get the extractor! He's gonna win this game! The base race may go in favor of our Protoss player! He's got the surround! Oh my god! Stardust wins the game!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Jaedong! Stardust! Alright, in StarCraft 2, there is two ways to win this game. You force your opponent out where he says GG, or you kill all his structures. Jaedong set up a beautiful situation to win the game. We talked about all the small things he was doing. Killing the cybernetics core, stopping his opponent's income, just destroying all of the anti-air. Then all of a sudden, he realized, I don't have many structures left. Stardust, with his workers, killed the last structure of Jaedong, meaning Stardust takes that map and is now currently leading this best of 5 series, 2 wins to 1 loss, and is now in a match point, game point situation. Incredible.
I just want to stress to you how close that game was. If Jaedong had gotten a drone with enough minerals to build that extractor at almost any other corner of this map, those Mutalisks would have had the time to pick off the remaining army units. Those probes that he set to the bottom right position, you know, he made that click over there. If he'd gone anywhere else, that's it. Stardust, he doesn't win the game. He would kill off those extractors and he'd say, okay, well, I don't know where your last building is. And it absolutely, I don't have words to describe just how close that match was.
All right, guys, we are going to go to a very quick commercial break, and when we return, we will see how this finals will conclude. We'll be right back.
Apparently Huck is doing more than Kingston endorsements and playing video games now.
He finally got a real job.
Not quite. It's the RMA department.
Hey, Huck? Is that what you call top 3 unit control? And we do have one of the lowest percentages of returns in the industry.
Maybe he caused our first defective return.
Oh, doubtful. HyperX can withstand more than that.
back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. We are here to find out who will be the DreamHack Summer 2013 champion.
And it has been quite a rush so far. We have a 2-1 lead right now for My Insanity Stardust, a player that, like we said countless times, no one thought was going to make it this far. It's just been a fantastic showing in some really grueling games in this series.
That's right, and we're about to load into the next map here, Nathanius. It is going to be Akalon Wastes. Stardust is one game away from winning it all.
And he's got to feel pretty awesome, especially going up against Jaedong, who has had a tremendous tear through this tournament, taking out plenty of big-name players that other people would have said were probably more likely to get there than Stardust, such as Tasia, Lucifron, really just digging in, even the European hopeful Stefano.
All right, well, let's find out which way this is going to go. Is Jaedong going to win and we tie it up 2-2, or is Stardust going to close this out?
It's time to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Spawning in the top left position as our Red Zerg player, coming in from Evil Geniuses. Can he make the recovery? It is Jaedong! Such a tense moment here for him as he's on the brink of dropping this tournament. But this guy, he's got to be proud of himself to make it this far. Spawning as our blue Protoss player in the bottom right position as the player coming in from Team My Insanity. It is Stardust! I don't think too many people knew about him before this tournament, but they sure as hell know about him now, Apollo.
They sure as hell do. He's playing such a good tournament. He's going toe-to-toe with Jaedong, an experienced veteran in the scene, in the tournament scene. This map, though, we've talked about a couple of styles on a couple of the other maps. This one for Stardust favors taking a very fast third base. It's a defensive map, simply because there's a couple of ramps that he should defend up. Having the high ground advantage will always give you the better defensive setup against an aggressive player.
And there's something that I want to point out. The last time we saw Stardust play Protoss versus Zerg on this map was versus Hyun. We saw him go for the 2 fake assimilators before going into a gateway all-in, actually busting, putting up that fake that he was going to be going for the third base or playing that economic style. And he was able to do quite a bit of damage with that push. So there we could see even more mind games here versus Jaedong as this probe gets in here and gets a little bit of early scouting information.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of harassment there, just slowing down the mining of Jaedong just a little bit, as we are going to be having a Nexus first from Stardust, and he's going to try and slow down Jaedong's natural by a little bit here. The longer he delays it, the better it is for him. Not too long of a delay, though.
Yeah, not really much of a delay at all. When it comes to, some people don't really see the real impact of blocking a hatchery. If you delay that for even 15 seconds, that's a probe. That's one less larva that the Zerg player is going to be able to get on that hatchery. It's all about accruing these very small advantages that snowball into these later game effects. The Forge is on the way, though, for Stardust. He's beginning to finish up his wall here. Apollo, as far as Stardust strategy has been going, very aggressive.
Yep.
Are we going to see him go for that same style on a map where taking that third is so much easier?
Well, we bring up a good discussion point here, because the map kind of emphasizes one style, and Jaedong may look into it and be like, yeah, you probably play how the map likes to come on. We see Protoss players like to take the third base, but he could play that image to his advantage. Maybe display something like an economic opening, yet do the complete opposite. Mind games can come into this if Stardust plays this out right, but we'll have to figure out if he tries something along those lines.
It's going to be very interesting to see. He's actually going to throw in a pylon to delay the building of this third base. It's a little bit of a tactic we actually haven't seen Stardust go for in really any of the matches so far, that pylon block to slow him down. When you go for the aggressive styles, it's all about catching your opponent going for too much economy. And delaying the third base is an indication that he may not want Jaedong to be playing so greedily, so we could see an economic play just based off of that from Stardust.
Ooh. A Roach Warren has come down here by Jaedong. He is not researching Zergling speed. We are going to see Jaedong flip the switch. Explain to me what flip the switch means, Nathanius.
Well, let's just say you give him the old switcheroo. We did see in that first game, he did go for the fake hatchery, the fake third base. And if Stardust is aware of this third base, then he might start to think to himself, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. And there's the cancel on the hatchery. It's going to give enough minerals for Jaedong to pump out a lot of roaches. He's going to try to come back in this series with a very aggressive build on Akalon Wastes. With the ramp solo, this is not a bad map to try to pull this strategy on, Apollo.
People in the crowd have their hands on their head. This is absolutely insane. Jaedong is going for it. This will either work or it fails. You like that? That was good, right? Yeah. Classic line.
Now the probe is going to move out for Stardust. If he can get over to that third base or at least spot these roaches coming, it'll give him a little bit of extra time to hold this off. What Stardust is going to need is a few photon cannons, but the roach is barely dodging that probe's vision. Stardust doesn't know.
Oh, he does now. Oh, he knows now. He knows. Cannons have to come down. He needs to start to... Oh, there's the probe. Cannons. He needs to defend this. Jaedong's coming for the win.
He's going to add on more gateways. It takes 60 seconds to build that. He's not going to be able to take advantage of this production. And here are the roaches. Only a single stalker will be able to pick that off. He can even waltz past this cannon. No, he's going to kill it. The force field, how much is it going to do? Because he can't actually hold his units off. The probe's being pulled so early on. He's going to start to break down this wall. Jaedong wants to even this matchup, taking out this ball. He's moving in the circle. He's getting on top of these probes. Stardust cannot hold this with just his workers. Those cannons are being started, but they're too late. The Mothership Core not going to be able to hold this up on its own, and Immortal's being chrono boosted out. But what else does he have? Just a single sentry and 24 probes. Apollo, I think Jaedong may do enough, taking out this pylon to secure an even match score in this best of 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we will be going to game number 5. The defense is not there. Jaedong just decided to do this, and it worked, Nathanias. It worked, it did not fail, and now the probes are down. Every power instructor is offline. GG! Game number 5 will happen. Jaedong with balls of steel. Not many people have balls of steel. Jaedong does, as he decided to do that, and it paid off.
Big dividends. You go from such a close game on Star Station, barely losing with the probes getting the wraparound on your proxy extractor, into this, no. This match is not going to fall out of my hands. I'm going to go straight for that aggressive play, tie it up 2-2, and now they're on even footing once again.
Even footing, which means we will go into one final map to decide it all, Nathanias. 7,200 euros first place, 4,200 second place, 3,000 euro difference for one single map. The matter of being a champion or just a second place finisher.
You know how many barcode accounts you can buy with that much money, Apollo?
You can buy a lot of StarCraft accounts, you can buy a lot of games, you can buy a lot of anything with that kind of money.
Indeed, and of course there comes the fame, the glory. It's all on one map, and this map in particular, I think, is going to be able to favor either strategy that these players will want to go for. It's going to be Whirlwind, a classic map as old as time in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, Whirlwind is one of the biggest maps in the map pool that we have present here. This is going to be a big game, hopefully. A big Thunder game to decide who's going to win.
And I think, as far as the maps in the pool, what more could you really ask for? This is going to be, it's large. There's the options for macro. We've seen a lot of aggressive plays from a lot of Protosses in this tournament so far. And I feel like as far as Jaedong's been playing on this map, we've seen him play aggressively versus Terrans. We've seen him play economically versus all sorts of races. As from the perspective of either player, how much are you willing to risk? What kind of build, what kind of options are you willing to choose to try to get this last map when everything is on the line?
That's a decision that only two people can make. Jaedong decided to do something so incredibly risky to draw the series up, and it worked. Do we see one of the players do that on the most important game of the tournament?
Exactly. It's the last game of the tournament. Can't hold anything back now. We are going to be loading into this map. This is it, Apollo. I want to ask you just once. I said I still feel strongly about Stardust's chances here. How are you feeling about who's going to be able to take this last map?
I don't know, man. I think a coin flip would decide that the best. Anybody can win this next map. It's going to come down to nerves. Who is going to be the brave soldier in this fight? If anybody crumbles, anybody has weakness, the game ends. It's that simple. At this level, when there's so much on the line, to be a DreamHack champion means so much in the StarCraft 2 industry. To have these extra points for the WCS season, everything is on the line here. Whoever crumbles to nerves, I feel, will be the loser here.
And I think that's a very good thing to bring up. Whirlwind is a large map. It's going to favor the economic play no matter what. But Stardust has been sticking to his guns with the aggression for the most part. I feel that, at this point, it's too late to change up your strategy. We haven't seen any big macro builds from him. I feel that Stardust is still going to play this two-base aggression.
All right, well, if he goes out with this two-base aggression, he will win this tournament by trademark, as that is how he's played it out all tournament long. Nathanius, are you ready for this?
My body is ready, Apollo, and I am ready to jump into this map. It's going to be Whirlwind, the final game of the DreamHack Summer 2013 Finals coming up. And spawning in the top right position of this map that is Whirlwind, we have the red Zerg player. He's made it through a lot of games. Both these players, 3 days of playing. It all comes down to this. Coming in from Evil Geniuses, just tying this up with a nice roach play, it is Jaedong! He will cut no corners and grant no mercy to his opponent in this final game. The last game of this whole tournament. All weekend long, they've been playing for this one final match. And now, his opponent in the bottom left position, the man that some would say shouldn't have been here, it is from Team My Insanity, Stardust! There are a lot of other players that could have taken his spot. We have Life on his side of the bracket, very powerful, even Show able to take him out, but Stardust not phased. His PVZ has been on point. He took out Violet. He took out, in just the last round, another Zerg player, and he is looking so solid in this final match. It's impossible to call who could possibly take this game.
Since the release of StarCraft 2, there's been 12 tournaments here at DreamHack. There's been 5 Protoss player wins, there's been 3 Zerg, and 3 Terran. Does it start to equalize a little bit more? Do the Protoss players push it in their advantage once again? We will have another champion within the hour. 128 players entered this tournament on Friday. On Saturday. They entered the tournament on Saturday playing for $27,000 or 21,000 euros. Top 8 of this tournament got paid. Now it's time to find out who will we crown this year's DreamHack Summer 2013 champion.
It all comes down to this final game, Apollo. Neither of these players opening up with anything ridiculous. We're seeing a very familiar opening from Stardust. The Nexus first into that Forge play. He's not going to do anything out of the ordinary so far. And I feel like on this map with the cross positions, there are a lot more options for Jaedong as far as the aggression goes, but Stardust may have other plans before that late game with the Mutalist play potential kicks in.
There's a lot of options and strategy to choose from here. A lot. Which one Stardust picks could be win or lose here. He's got to be so careful on what he decides to do. We saw Jaedong choose something, which was win or lose from the very beginning. We'll see if that's going to be similar along these lines too.
And a great way to expand on that is Stardust has been that aggressor in the majority of the games. He's been starting off every game saying, yeah, we're going to dictate this game based on what I want to do. I will pick the aggressive strategy. You will have to defend. Jaedong gave him a bit of a backhand in that last game saying, no, I'm going to be able to also take control of this series. This is that moment where Stardust can either stand up, he can say, I'm taking the reins back on this series and become that champion, or Jaedong, after calming things down, is going to be able to force that later game that he wants, going for this third base in this final match of this best of 5.
Jaedong has gone back to basics in this matchup. A textbook opening, a textbook strategy. Completely gasless. He hasn't attempted to mine any gas yet, focusing purely on minerals and his economy, getting the 3 hatcheries down, the queens, drones, and just circlings that all only need minerals. At this point, focusing on a normal build. On the other hand, we have a Chrono Boosted Stalker making its way out to join a Zealot across the map. Gonna put on a bit of pressure towards his third base. Also, scouting. Stardust doesn't really know who his opponent is yet.
Yeah, and that's, you know, one of the more important factors of this. We've seen his Zealot Stalker pressure honestly not do a terrible amount of damage, but it has forced Zerglings. And what Stardust likes to do is make you build units to defend an attack that you think is coming early. He throws you that bait, and then he switches it out and goes for the later attack when you've cut your economy to the point where you can't hold that slightly larger and a little bit later push. He's going to go for the robotics facility again. So far, looking exactly like his other builds. He is going to, however, make sure to take that gas.
It seems that Stardust has built a strategy and tactic around one simple thing. Moving out at a timing around the 12-minute mark, which we saw before. The robotics facility is an indication it's one step in the right direction to pulling this off. The Zealot gets in there, that's surrounded, that's kind of expected at this time. He's in there, just put a bit of pressure on, forced units down. Jaedong's gone straight towards a layer here. This means he can get roach speed quite fast and also get a Hydralisk Den down as well. On the other side of things, back at home, the Twilight Council has started. The second step. Will we see the Forge as well?
And he's actually going to throw down another Photon Cannon here by the natural. There is that second Forge.
And Jaedong's going to see it straight away. There's an Overlord going in at a very precise time.
The most important thing about this, though, is despite what Jaedong knows, Stardust has done this build so many times. He's taken out so many of these other Zerg players with great force fields. He's picked a composition where you can't just counter force fields as Zerg. You have to effectively deal with them. You have to get into good positions. You need to do a lot more than just build units and attack to actually fight against this many sentries with this much space and board control when it comes to the fights.
So this build that we've seen from Stardust was used over and over again throughout this tournament. Oh, he could have very easily gone in there, but this was used throughout the tournament. I know Jaedong, with his coach in control, managed to discuss this a little bit. He said to In Control that he knew exactly how to stop it. We will see if that's the case in this game. He knows it's coming. We know it's coming. Around that 11, 12-minute mark, he will move out, and he will try to kill Jaedong.
Now, he is going to be able to pick off the Observer. As far as what Stardust knows, he has all of the information he could possibly need. We are going to see this infestation pit. We kind of saw a little bit of an attempt on Belshevesky to actually get up the swarm host towards the end of the game. Now, it is possible that he could try to mix those in a little bit earlier on this map. I'm very curious, as you said, to see how he holds this off, because when it comes to the force fields, you get cost-effective spellcaster. And the most cost-effective unit for Zerg versus gateway units is going to be the swarm host. Once you can get enough of them, the locust waves respawning, not costing any resources, do a great job of slowing down these single target firing units.
So let me tell you how Jaedong's actually started to build around this build. He realized that this attack comes at the 11-12 minute mark when pushed out nice and at the usual time. Before that, he did nothing but drone up, get a massive economy, and now he's got an economy to support a large army. Swarm Host is the choice of unit to deflect this attack. But is he going to get them out in time? There's no Observer with this army at this point. Okay, there is. Okay, there is an Observer with this army. Can he hold this off? Remember, tournament is on the line here. It's 2 apiece. Winner of this map takes it all.
The most important thing is here, fortunately, he's obviously going to be able to pick off 2 of these Swarm Hosts quite easily. The Zerglings, though, distracting him. If he can't get all the units over to the third base, he can step up there, he can force field. Even if he had 100 Locusts or Swarm Hosts on the bottom side of this ramp, he can force field them out, kill off that base, and then retreat. The Roach is trying to cut off the reinforcements. There are a decent number of Zealots, but as long as he can keep that Swarm Host count from getting crazy high, he will be able to continue to slowly but surely push forward. He has the Observer poised there. There's only 2 Swarm Hosts that we can visibly see pushing these units out. He is going to step in, though. The Roach is trying to get a bit of surround. The force field's continuing to block these out. He's stepping in towards that third. Roach is coming from the back. There's Roaches in front of him. A single Swarm Host there as well that will fall at the same time. A Warp Prism coming in to help reinforce reinforce this army. But what Jaedong needs is a big surround here, Apollo. He's moving in towards the third. He is going to be able to take this hatchery out if Jaedong doesn't move in right now. But with so much energy on these sentries, he can fight this army whenever he wants. The third base will fall. Swarmos dies. He's got a lot of these roaches.
The Roaches are going to target down the Immortals. They need to be safe. He moves it back. Oh, it just got down the last minute. But the Miracle Maker is happening. It's starting to happen here. Jaedong's third has fallen down. The supply is equal. The upgrades are in favor of Stardust. Is he going to be able to do this despite all odds against him? The all tournament long. The crowd is behind Stardust. Is he going to be able to do it? Jaedong gathering his forces. 121 supply to 106.
And now we have the big Zergling counterattack. He's going to try to make something happen. He's going to bum rush this third base. But is it going to be enough? We do have a right side third secured for Jaedong. With that extra mineral income, he can afford these Zerglings. Zealots will be warped in with that +2 attack. They're going to do a lot of damage versus these Zerglings that do not have any carapace upgrades. But being forced to use his reinforcements there is going to prevent his main attack from becoming stronger. We have a Sentry Immortal drop. It's not terribly common that we see in this matchup. Stardust, though, sending the majority of the units back to defend. He does not want to give up his economy because he has killed off quite a bit of Jaedong's.
Jaedong's forced his opponent all the way back home now. And Jaedong has a third base still alive. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, Stardust does know about this base down there, but he doesn't know how many drones are there. Jaedong fighting off this for now. Has 132 supply. Great counterattack. It's been one of the staple things that Jaedong has done all game long. Pulling the counterattacks, making them work. And again, he pulls his opponent back. Has a bit of breathing room now. But we are seeing the Dark Shrine in the production tab. One structure missing from every part of Jaedong's bases. The Spore Crawler. Detection. There is nothing to spot this. If we see Swarm Hosts come into play, especially because there's a Warp Prism around, Jaedong could be in major, major trouble.
Yeah, exactly. He has one Overseer. I'm not 100% sure where it is, but that's not quite enough to cover all the area that these Dark Templar could run, and it's just by where that third was destroyed. And some great force fields. He's actually messing up with the mining, killing some things off with the Immortals, but not quite that much DPS versus the light units. The Swarmos are going to go try to defend this third base. If Stardust kills off this economy for Jaedong, this could be up at a big...
Seven!
So many Dark Templar. He's going to be able to choose straight through all of this. He's going for the DTs, and he's at the same time he's going to snipe this lair. He's not going to be able to build any more Overseers. His detection will be severely limited, and he can actually kill off a lot of these roaches. He can load up, split up his army. At the same time, he's pushing into that third base. He's going for the economy. He's killed off the Swarmos. He's going to be able to shut this down. He's no longer mining long distance in the main. The Zealots get in. The drones are evacuating that third. He's going to force field off the exit, preventing any reinforcements coming in, as well as the escape of these drones. But for now, the Swarmos may be able to hold this attack off.
Jaedong played this out really well. He was able to defend that very fast inside the main base. He needs an Overseer to detect these units, and if he does, there's the Overseer. Jaedong has so many Hydras. He's got a 40 supply leak. Despite losing so many hatcheries, Jaedong has an army which may not be stopped here. He's got so many Hydras. He's got decent upgrades. If Jaedong pushes this advantage, having the army supply, he could turn this game around. Look at this. He's moving across the map. DT's, oh, they're slicing it up in the middle of the map there. And he's still got units inside the main base. This is so close to call. Which way is this going to go?
You know, they're slicing and dicing, and the problem is the Overseer is slower than the rest of the units in this army. And especially considering these Warpins doing so much damage, he's saying, Jaedong, if you want to counterattack me, that's fine. I'm going to Warp in so many units, I'll just kill you. I have a stronger economy right now, despite the fact that your standing army is larger. If Stardust can defend this push from Jaedong, he will be the DreamHack Summer 2013 champion. But it is going to take a lot of moxie, a lot of great control, and some perfect force fields to be able to actually hold this off.
DT's trying to get in there to get some free damage done. They are going to run away. Jaedong's going to try to block them, but the Swarm Host is the biggest problem. There are so many Swarm Hosts. I'm not too sure that Stardust has what it takes to stop these guys. They're going to spawn out their Locusts. They're going to start to siege these bases that we can already see happening. Meanwhile, we are seeing the siege continue.
And he is going to continue to press forward that natural. Stardust just needs to hold on. He's completely ravaged the economy of his opponent. Keeping the third base would be a bonus for Stardust, but the Locusts are going to get right on top of that. These Zealots shutting down all the production. Everything that Jaedong loses from this point on, he cannot replace. The third Nexus will fall. The Tyrant trying to get into the position necessary to take this base out.
This is really weird because right now Stardust is eliminating a lot of the structures of Jaedong once again here. He's killing a lot. At the end of the day, Jaedong's army is the biggest problem for Stardust. I'm not sure if he can beat it down, but he's destroying all of the economy of Jaedong. He's picking off a lot of the structures. Right now, Jaedong only has a few structures remaining, an evolution chamber and 4 extractors. There's one, there's another one coming down, and he has to defend them with his life. They're falling down, another one on the right-hand side. Remember, if he eliminates all the structures, he'll win. He's so close to doing this, there's no overseer there.
And all of the drones that Jaedong has left are right next to each other. The DT can focus these down. The overseer will arrive in time. There's so many zealots, though, he could try to bum rush this, and at the same time, the units that he has in the main base, if he wants to try to push out and try to jump on these, I mean, he doesn't have too much there, but these swarm hosts are continuing to press in. Once again, we could have this base trade. He's going to fight the army. The zealots with these upgrade advantage, with the +3 attack, the +2 armor, are going to punch in and take out Jaedong's army. There's a single drone trying to get away.
The drone is gone.
It gets killed. All he has now, he has the 2 extractors. Are there any
extractors.
drones left? There's no drones on the map. He kills these, and he wins.
Oh, Stardust is gonna do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stardust is your DreamHack 2013 champion for summer. A fantastic series played. He was not called to make it this far. So many fell before him. Life, Violet, Stefano, so many other players that would have been picked to arrive here over him and now being carried by his team, cheered on by his fellow teammates. And this is definitely going to be the highlight of his StarCraft career so far, at least in StarCraft 2.
This is such a big result for Stardust. Come out, nobody expected him to do this. Nobody said he would win this tournament, and here he is, the DreamHack Summer 2013 champion!
Stardust, everybody, please, one more time. Give it up for him. Stardust, you have just completed a Cinderella story. People were counting you out before this tournament, and they will know your name from this day forward, my friend. You have completed one of what I can only imagine to be one of the most exciting finals in certainly recent history, but maybe ever, right? It was amazing. Congratulations, you are DreamHack Open Summer 2013's #1 champion. There's 2 games I want to ask you about because they are incredible. There's 2 games where you actually killed his final building to win the game. One of them was with your probes, and you knew that you had an army that could not stand up to his. What was it like when you saw that extractor? What was going through your head? Did you think you had lost that game?
I have many experience like this game, elimination game. So I just think he's building the story with where is his drone. So when I learn my natural probe 5 o'clock, see his drone. So I just play. This is my last drone.
Now, in that last game, it got really close. Swarm hosts are very scary against the army that you had, but you were doing a lot of damage inside of his main base. Did you ever think you were going to lose that game, or did you always know that you had that in the bag?
When I destroy his sword, just I think if I take no big mistake, what? I should win.
Now I have 2 more questions for you. There's a lot of people, I've been reading the forums, I've been checking Twitter. They are very excited about you. They have loved your interviews, they have loved your play. You've made a lot of fans today. You have the attention of the world. Do you have any words to say to your new fans and to everyone that is listening right now?
before DreamHack, my follower is just 500 people, but when I playing final before, just 850 people. So when I finish interview, I just hope my follower is 1,000.
And I guess the last question I have for you is I asked you what you're going to do with the money when you win the tournament, and you promised me one thing. What was that?
Just party!
All right.